Hey everyone, welcome back. With the temperatures rising outside, I thought this would be the perfect moment to do a follow-up of a video I have posted in the past about modest fashion. It's one of my favorite videos. If you want to watch it, I'll link it here. As I say in basically every post that I make, I love that classic, feminine, kind of elevated, sophisticated, timeless style, and being more demure, more modest is a big part of that. During the colder months, it is way easier to achieve that aesthetic because we can layer, we can cover up, and it's just easier to look styled. However, during the summer months, when temperatures are beginning to be a factor, it can feel like a challenge. So I thought I would share with you a few tricks that make covering up actually comfortable. And this pairs perfectly with today's sponsor, which is LilySilk. They have sent me some gorgeous pieces. I always get so happy when they reach out because LilySilk just fits into what we like in this community. They do offer the perfect range if you want to dress modestly and yet look beautiful, look appealing, not dowdy, not frumpy. Their pieces are true building blocks and they are detailed enough that they shine on their own, but they also can be styled in a multitude of ways depending on your personal preference. So I highly recommend you check them out. Thank you LilySilk for sponsoring this video. And just a little note before we get into it. As I've said in the previous video, modesty looks different for everyone. To me, it's not a religious matter, it's not a cultural matter, it's just a preference matter. If you have more particular requirements on how you dress, I do think that these tips can work for you. But if you have any other interesting ways that we can make dressing modestly in the heat bearable, let us know. All right. Let's begin with transparency. A layer of fabric that is slightly see-through will provide you with a little bit of coverage, but will still give a bit of visibility of what's underneath and make things a little bit lighter and most importantly, a little bit more breathable. When used in more revealing pieces, I think that transparency can look a little bit over the top, but when applied to a classic piece like on this beautiful silk shirt from LilySilk, I think it just adds another dimension, a sort of ethereal quality to the design. It's just that perfect amount of peekaboo. You will see the movement of the arm, you will see a bit of your skin tone, and then around the part that you do want to cover, you get the beautiful, luscious silk that is also breathable. So even though this is a long sleeve shirt, it is totally appropriate for summer. This actually comes in white as well, but the reason why I love the black is because I love the idea of pairing this with perhaps some palazzo pants or with a pencil skirt for nighttime. I think it just looks sultry and interesting without being too revealing, and it's just a little bit lighter than a classic Oxford shirt. So I would say this is such a winner. You could wear transparency perhaps in your décolletage with a dress, transparency through the addition of a pashmina, just that detail that will avoid a block of color all over you and again allow your skin to breathe. Moving on to draping, I just love a well-placed draping on a piece. I think it just adds movement. It kind of delineates the body in an interesting way, almost like the piece was made for the person that's wearing it. I also think that it can be more classic and more romantic depending on the style of draping, or it can also look more contemporary, more modern, more fashionista. And it is a feature that truly benefits from high quality, kind of luxurious fabrics like this one from LilySilk. This is so pretty. It's the perfect example, that slinky, kind of gleamy silk that truly highlights the cut of the fabric in the most beautiful way, because bad materials will not give you this result. And this shade of seafoam green is divine. It's a beautiful way of adding a subtle touch of color without being too stark. I think that we have this idea in our heads that summertime is the time to bring out all of the brights, but if that kind of makes you nervous, something a bit more neutral, a little bit more pale will do the trick, will brighten you up without being too much. Draping is also a great way of showing a little bit more décolletage without resorting to full-on deep V necklines, because the draping will kind of soften that line a little bit, so you get a bit of skin, but it's not in your face. The reason why draping is such an interesting thing to add to your modest wardrobe is because that draping fabric will create shape. So we're not just throwing on a potato sack with no form at all. It just accompanies your body without constricting it. So you still get that figure, you still get those angles, but in a more controlled, more demure way. And draping is not only for necklines. I love a cowl neck, but you could have a draped dress that is kind of crossbody. You could have something around the sleeves with the draping. You could have, again, not only a cowl neck, you could have something that is more in a boat neck. You have something on your back that is draped. A beautiful skirt, kind of pareo style, is also so beautiful. So take advantage of draping, because that additional fabric will make things look a little bit more discreet, a little bit more covered up, but not boring. I already kind of talked about this in the previous points, but natural fibers during summertime are an essential. This is, I would say, the most important point of this video, because you can be wearing something really teeny tiny. If it is done in a terrible polyester, you'll still feel hot in the area that it is covering. So do make a point to invest in pieces that are made in high quality natural materials. LilySilk, again, is the master when it comes to that. Case in point, this beautiful silk dress. This is actually a blend of 90% silk and 10% spandex in this gorgeous kind of sapphire blue. I love that addition of spandex because, given that it does have some draping around the waist, it will sort of give a bit of weight, a little bit of movement to the fabric, but that 90% silk more than makes up for the comfort. So you're getting a lot of breathability, a lot of just ease when it comes to wearing something like this. Modest silhouettes tend to cover a lot of skin. So when you have that natural fiber going for you, it will allow you to be a bit more conservative when it comes to styles, but still feel like you are not closed up in a plastic bag all day long. So go for silk, go for cotton, go for linen, even a light chambray. Not only are natural fibers way more comfortable to wear, but they also last really long time and they look beautiful on the body. So it's a win-win-win. I've talked about the essential dresses that I think every classic girl should have in their wardrobes. The shirt dress is one of them, and I talked about how you should avoid getting a shirt dress in a slinky kind of, you know, floppy fabric. This is the opposite. This silk, look at that color, you can see that it stays put, it stays straight, so it's not going to look cheap, it's not going to look bad quality, it will look stunning. I love that the sleeves are not too long and not too short, so truly give you a balanced figure. You can see that in the gathering of the draping you have the detail of a little button, which, I mean, attention to detail is really important when you want to look luxurious. When you are dressing modestly, those little accents will again add interest. It has a V neckline, but it is not too deep at all, and you could actually wear a camisole underneath this if you feel like it's too much. You could wear this with a scarf, you could throw on a beautiful kind of lariat necklace, I think would look divine. I could wear this to the office, I could wear this to mass on Sundays, I could wear this to going out to dinner. It depends on how you style. Like I told you in the beginning of the video, LilySilk LilySilk's pieces give you a lot of room for creativity when it comes to accessorizing, when it comes to combining with other pieces. So I'm sure this will be a total must-have in my wardrobe for years to come. And finally, a trick that I absolutely love and that I think is key when you want to make something look more stylish, a little bit more fashionable, is to play around with different proportions and different lengths. When you have a piece that is a bit looser, a little bit more covered, a little bit heavier, pairing it with another item that is very similar with kind of the same characteristics can feel really dull, heavy, almost like you're trying to cover up, almost kind of defensive. For instance, this linen blend shirt from LilySilk, it has a more relaxed, more oversized cut to it. So what I like to do in these cases is to pair it with something a bit slimmer, perhaps more tailored, perhaps even shorter. I would totally, for instance, take this out on a boat ride and pair it with a pair of shorts and with some espadrilles. This would even be a very glamorous, I think, beach cover up because of that gorgeous neckline. It is long enough to cover your bum. You put your hair up in a bun, you throw on some big sunglasses, a raffia bag. So playing around with those proportions will make you look like you know what you're doing, not just throwing things together. You are making sense of your wardrobe. This would also be beautiful paired with some kind of high-waisted tailored trousers. A pencil skirt, again, is always a good combination to kind of counterbalance more oversized tops. I really like this. I'm not usually an oversized kind of gal, but during summertime, I really don't like clingy pieces in my body. So something that is in a more substantial yet breathable material. This is a beautiful, I think, linen and silk blend. Will cover me without feeling confining. That shirt collar is another point of counterbalance because you have that oversized relaxed body, but a structure around the collar will bring it back to a more sophisticated feel. Also with the really well designed cuffs with the contrast button in a sort of tortoise shell effect is just gorgeous. Other examples of this could be perhaps wearing a sleeveless top with wide leg pants. It could be throwing on a cardigan over a more bare dress. It could be pairing a sort of knit shell with an A-line, more voluminous skirt. It could be choosing a more ethereal, kind of lighter fabric when you want to go for more voluminous, more bold silhouettes. It could be maybe if you have a very basic piece, going for a bold color. There is a lot of playroom when we dress modestly. I actually find that having guardrails, having those limits, spikes my curiosity and my creativity. So I try to find solutions instead of feeling overwhelmed by the amount of choices that I have. So I think it's really important to take from this video the fact that if you like dressing modestly, it doesn't mean that it has to look boring, doesn't have to look old lady, doesn't have to be an unexciting experience. Modesty has been making a huge comeback in my opinion, and we've been seeing a lot of different iterations of different styles kind of filtered through that lens of modesty. So you really do have a lot to play around with. This is it, everyone. Thanks again to LilySilk for sponsoring this video. I will leave the links to the pieces that I have showcased down below in the description box, along with my discount code so that you can shop around and still, you know, not feel guilty about it. Do check out their collection because it is truly, you just add things to your cart without even realizing it. Let me know down in the comments some of your tricks and tips on how to remain cool and collected during summertime if you enjoy the more modest side of fashion. Hopefully you found this helpful, and we'll see each other again next time. Bye bye.